Hello guys, welcome to my channel. The less is more. So today we will discuss an editorial from Indian Express. Okay, and today the topic is little different, right? And it is about social issue and linked to society and particularly about family, right? So it is about family matters. The title of the editorial is Family Matters. Okay, so let's start the editorial. We celebrated the International Day of Families on May 15. The increasing cases of murders of live-in partners, news items about family feuds leading to violent attacks on spouses or other family members, and suicide among aspiring youth barely in their teens present a scary scenario. In a way, these are the symptoms of what? Symptoms of societal ill health. Every case merits independent analysis and hence generalization may not be advisable. Yet a majority of these cases unmistakably point towards what? The unfeeblement of our traditional family system. Unfeeblement of our traditional family system. This is something that we cannot afford to ignore. Studies conducted all over the world point to the primacy of families. So there is a instances of murders of live-in partners, spouses, right? Suicide of teens, aspiring youths. So this represents symptoms of societal ill health. But and there are different reasons for this, but the one factor which is leading to these kind of events, that is unfeeblement of our traditional family system. And this all the study conducted all over the world point towards what? Primacy of families. An increasing number of children taking to crime mirrors the disruption in the age-old family system in India and elsewhere. The children taking to crime mirrors what? Disruption in the age-old family system in India and elsewhere. Children taking to crime represents what? Disruption in the age-old family system in India and elsewhere. The family has been a foundational institution of society in most parts of the world, particularly in India. We swear by Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Kutumb or family has traditionally acquired primacy in our social dynamics. At least so far, no social scientist has been able to advocate any alternate unit better than family. It is an institution where consolidation of relation naturally evolve while living under one roof, sharing thought processes, participating in collective action, and developing emotional bondings. So, the family is what? An institution where consolidation of relation naturally evolve. Consolidation of relation naturally evolve while living under one roof, sharing thought process, participating in collective action, and developing emotional bondings. Notwithstanding the drawbacks, the traditional family system has strengths that has helped it withstand innumerable onslaughts from a globalized world. So we should not look at its drawback, but if we look at its strength, that has helped for whom to withstand innumerable onslaughts from a globalized world. Add to this the set of challenges emanating from the changing social conditions, and the crisis is compounding. So adding to this the set of challenges that are emanating from changing social conditions, and the crisis is compounded. So these challenges are compounded due to changing social condition and crisis. This calls for what? Reforms, attitudinal and behavioral. Two types of. They are interdependent and difficult to prioritize. Attitudinal and behavioral. They are interdependent and difficult to prioritize. Since the family is not a creation of any government, one cannot ask governments to introduce reforms. They need to be society driven, right? The sorry state of the quality of conversation in the most families. The sorry state of the quality of conversation in most families today could easily be singled out as the fountainhead of several crises being faced by the family as an institution. So, sorry state of the quality of conversation in our family, like communication gap, easily be singled out as fountainhead of several crises. It is a fountainhead of several crises like communication gap, which is being faced by the family as an institution. This has made our families united outwardly, but in most cases, so this has made our families what? United outwardly, but fragmented within. Dialogue these days is extremely transactional. Candid and heart-to-heart dialogues between two adults, starting from husband and wife, are fast becoming rare. Parent-children interactions are becoming too formal and superficial. Sadly, with adolescence and advancing depleting maturity, and waning warmth pose what? Several unforeseen challenges. Excessive emphasis on individualism is also to blame for this near demise of dialogue. So, excessive emphasis on individualism is also to blame for this near demise of dialogue. Indian society would be paying a huge price if we continue to ape Western societies and embrace mindless individualism. So, this excessive emphasis on what? Individualism is leading to what? The demise of dialogue between the stakeholders or between the family members, right? And if Indian society would continue be on this, with continuing with these kind of phenomena, then we would have to pay a huge price to embrace mindless individualism. Can we afford to forget the essence of mantra Om Sahna Vavatu from the Krishna Yajurveda Taittiriya Upanishad? It is all about togetherness. May the Almighty nourish us together. May we work together with great energy, and may there be no hate among us. Ideas like privacy and private space are too important to be ignored. Ideas like privacy and private space are too important to be ignored. But that should not blind us the importance of collectivism, partnership, and more importantly, the value of sharing. So, ideas like what? Privacy and private space are too important to be ignored. So, they cannot be ignored. But that should not blind us what? Importance of collectivism, partnership, and more importantly, the value of sharing. The joy of sharing leads to what? A commonality of ethos. The joy of sharing leads to what? Commonality of ethos. Likes and dislikes. Refusing to share is to deny these experiences to oneself. So, if we refuse to share whatever we have or whatever the other have, if we refuse to share, we deny what? These experiences to ourselves. The different experience that he has or she has, we deny those experiences to ourselves. The number of opportunities for collective participatory activities are fast depleting. What is lost eventually is mutuality. In the absence of sharing, a certain amount of opaqueness increasingly marks interpersonal relation within families. So, absence of sharing, a certain amount of opaqueness increasingly marks interpersonal relation within families. Transparency in relationship is the bedrock of mutual trust. So, transparency in relationship is what? Bedrock of mutual trust. It is this trust that provides a strong foundation for families. However, with the overstretching of ideas of privacy and private space, overstretching of ideas of what? Privacy and private space, erosion of mutual trust and confidence has become the order of the day. Erosion of mutual trust and confidence become the order of the day by overstretching of ideas like privacy and private space. Undermining of mutuality has adversely impacted what? Togetherness. This means that we seem to know less and less about each other. This has diluted the mentor-mentee relationship. Earlier, loners were found perhaps only at the top. In present day society and also our families, they are everywhere. And when loners occasionally live in a collective setup, maybe a team in corporate organization or steering committee in any social body, they tend to forget that one cannot take any other member for granted, even in an inevitable situation. In this setting, familiarity today does not stop at breeding contempt. So, in this setting, what? Familiarity today does not stop at breeding contempt. It may as well lead to a taken for granted approach. That leads to conflict and confrontation. Thanks to external factors like peer pressure, exhibitionism has further complicated the family scene. From birthdays to weddings and housewarmings to condolence meetings, everything becomes a formal event with complete disregard for the beauty of informality. Such a mindless craze for events has added to the crisis of authenticity of our interpersonal feelings. Conversations today are replete with spurious emotions and their customary articulations, making our relationship superficial and only high by type. And like a termite infestation, one never knows when and how this artificiality of emotions has not just entered but caused what? Irreparable harm to relationship. This high by type. One of the many factors behind the deterioration of the institutional primacy of the family is disregarding the contribution of our mothers. We need to have women led families as a starting point for the implementation of Narendra Modi's clarion call for women led development. So, for the women led development, we must uh, acknowledge the contribution of our mothers, and to make this happen, men will have to rise above the traditional mindset, traditional male mindset. The onus of achieving the triumvirate of gender equality, that is, equality of security, opportunities, and respect, is primarily on male members of the families. Reforming our families is easier said than done. Women led, child focused, and elderly sensitive families are the need of the hour. How to achieve this is a matter that merits deeper analysis. And since family is the primary unit of any society, it is for the social science fraternity to help the process of knowledge creation in the form of family studies. Process of knowledge creation in the form of family studies. This may evolve an enlightened discourse on the crucial subject. So there is need for enlightened discourse on this crucial subject. So it was a very good article, guys, as it represents what different kind of factors that led to deterioration of institution of family, like collectivism, excessive emphasis on like individualism, privacy and private space, right, lead to murder of family live-in partners, committing suicide of aspiring youth, then and disruption of age-old family system, right. So now people used to or tend to live in a private space, like only not with a extended family, right. So there is a need for attitudinal and behavioral change, and it is a interdependent and not and very hard and difficult to prioritize, right. And the external factor like peer pressure, exhibitionism has added and further complicated this family scene, right. From birthdays and weddings uh, we tend to organize a big event and lead to wastage of money and resources, and making it superficial and less connected with emotions, right. So then the joy of sharing, and so in the absence of sharing we deny ourselves what experience of other people to ourselves. So these were some factors that are depleting the family values, right. So this was for today, guys. I hope you would be enjoying and getting knowledge. I would like you to respond with the feedback. If you have any query, do comment, do write in the comment section. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Signing off for the day.